So
that is what Andy's about. Not taking the piss.
So she was like, I've thought about it, and the best thing to do until I get my house back is for you to move out.
You? Is that to you? Is that to you? You're joking. You are joking.
No.
You're not joking.
I thought
he's not joking.
No, seriously, this isn't a wind-up. You're not having pulling my chain.
Well, what did you say to her?
That's nuts.
Well, yeah, that's what I said.
It's your house.
You said this. You would say.
I'd like you to move out of your house, please.
It's alive! Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
Welcome to Empire Geek, and on the show this week we have me, of course. We've got Cafe's Paul.
Hello.
We've got Andy.
Hello.
A man in turmoil. We've got my girlfriend Lisa. Hello. It will still pick you up.
Didn't ask us how we are this time round.
I'm going to come back round and do that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, you can't even complain since I'm redoing it because of you fecking around with my internet. And we've also got Raoul.
Hi.
Right, we'll start off with you then, Catty P. Have you had a good week so far? The last few weeks, how have you been?
The last few weeks?
Yeah.
Well, there's always ups and downs, isn't there? I'm a bit bunged up, but I'm happily satisfied with the fact that... I'm just satisfied with the fact that warmly satisfied with the fact I'm using your internet for free. It's costing me nothing.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you think you'll be able to accrue enough money for all the windows that are going to get mysteriously broken on your house tonight?
That would be normal living. Oh, hang on, mate.
That's not getting edited.
That is getting edited.
That's staying in. Right, Andy, how are you? Other than the fact that you've not given away your address on the podcast.
Didn't say where I live, did I? On that so-called street.
Yeah.
But
that's
that
going to get dubbed
street,
out.
It's going to be the only house on the street that looks decent and not falling apart.
Can we just change it for a word that I'm just going to say now? Beirut. Can you dub that? I did. There was a gap in between either side.
I see no difference between where you just described and Beirut. What about you then, Andy?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
You're not though. You're not good though, but you don't want to talk about it, do you?
I've just got my painted on smile.
Yeah.
So.
The tears of a clown.
Andy,
my veneer is strong. No, it's not.
We all have. Deep down inside, we're all mess.
Are we?
Yeah.
Lisa.
No, actually, that's not true at all. You are at the moment, though.
You are on the podcast. Have you had a good week so far? Yes, good. You are on it. You're on it now. And Raoul, you had a good week so far and last week.
Yeah, it's just been busy, and I can't really talk about anything.
Oh, it's all hush hush as well.
Yeah.
But for different reasons than Andy's reasons.
Andy's reasons are bleak. If I were Andy, I'd be crying.
Fucking hell.
I've often thought that though, if I was Andy, I'd probably cry. Okay, let's get on with the show then, since we've got past the niceties and the formalities. So on Empire Geek this week, as always, we're going to split the show into two. The first show will talk all about TV and other stuff that's caught my eye, and films and whatnot. And the second show will have, not Empire Geek, that's the name of the bloody show, have Ultimo Geek, and also Comic of the Week, which we've got a new Comic of the Week this week, which has been from an artist who messaged us over Twitter. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, listeners, you can just go to Empire Geek at Twitter and you'll find us and you can chat with us and suggest things for the show if you like. We've also got another round of Geek Music Face-Off, which I know we're all big fans of. Particularly Mr. T's song from 2 episodes, 2 shows ago. And we've also got Conventions of the Week, and that's all on the next show. But on this show, to start us off with, we spoke about the Supergirl TV show that was coming out soon on a couple of shows back. And we all agreed it looked shit, didn't we?
Yes.
Well, this week, someone, probably the studio behind it, leaked the show onto the internet. And a lot of people said, oh, don't bother watching it, watch it when it comes out on TV. Because I love a little bit of piracy, I managed to get my hands on a copy of the show, and I watched it with Lisa. And to be honest, I'll give you a review now of the show. I went into it expecting it would be an absolute pile of donkey toss, but actually, it was a very fun, bubbly. It was actually quite a decent show, and I would watch it again. Everything
It would.
about it. Everything about it was okay. Even Lisa, and I'm sure she won't repeat it now that we're recording, but she herself said that she thought it was going to be crap, but it was enjoyable. It wasn't too much of the naff rom-com that I was expecting. I liked Supergirl in it. She was very likeable. There was some cool little Easter eggs in it. There's a guy, Hank Henshaw, who's the leader of this kind of government secret group who are tasked with taking out aliens who are on the planet. And if you know your comic book stuff, you know Hank Henshaw becomes the Cyborg. It's one of Superman's kind of big enemies. It was just a good, nice show. There was a good feel to it. It was fun and it was enjoyable. So I want to take back what I said about Supergirl from a few episodes ago.
So you're going to go see it in the cinema then?
It's not in the cinema.
No, but you're going to go see it in the cinema.
It's not in the cinema.
Oh, of course, it's a TV series, isn't
It's a TV show, yes.
it? Yeah.
Thank you for listening and not just playing on your phone, waiting for your moment to talk, you asshole. So I'll watch it on telly for definite. I reckon for sure the studio leaked it themselves. It was getting loads of bad press when people saw the teaser of it. I think that they knew it was going to be good and they leaked it for that reason. But it was good.
It's probably just a standard marketing thing anyway.
Everything gets leaked so badly now, doesn't it?
And easily as well. It's not that hard not to hold on to your stuff.
Yeah, it was. But it was very good. So I want to give that a big thumbs up, a big Empire Geek thumbs up. I enjoyed Supergirl. I'd definitely watch it again. Now, just with a yes or no answer, Lisa, you enjoyed it, didn't you?
Yes.
Would you watch it again?
Yes.
And was it better than you thought it was going to be?
Yes.
There we go, straight from the horse's mouth.
Probably not.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not. So can you just put your feedback on and be quiet? Anyway.
300 points, words with friends. I'm putting it down now.
You're a dickhead.
Just got a really high score. They're not going to touch me.
Oh.
No one wants to touch you. Okay, the first bit of geek news this week. In my hand, listener, I'm holding a very heavy rubber dog toy.
You're going to throw it.
And I'm going to throw it. And it's going to be you, Andy, if you dare talk across me when I'm presenting the show again.
I'm sorry for double crossing you.
That's good.
I've crossed a lot of people this week, and it's
I am
it's
going
my
to. If
benefit.
you want, I will just I will not edit your little.
Sorry, I should have. Carry on.
Your waterfall of turmoil that you. Anyway, so the first bit of geek news is to do with Carol Ann Ford back in the TARDIS. Now, Carol Ann Ford played Susan, the very first companion and the granddaughter of the original Doctor, William Hartnell. Now, this isn't certain she's going to be on Doctor Who, but she went to Cardiff to visit the set a while back, and Peter Capaldi, who is a big fan, obviously, of Doctor Who, and the fact he's in it, kept saying to her, will you be in it, will you be in it? And she has said she would love to be in it. So there is certainly the potential for the original companion and the granddaughter of the original Doctor to be in the show.
How old will she be in...
She is knocking on a bit, considering that was it its 50th anniversary? That
Yeah.
50 or 60?
It was
50.
the 50th.
50th?
Yeah.
Yeah, she must be in her... She was youngish when she was on the show. She's got to be in late 60s, early 70s.
Okay, so
maybe
not like
later.
ancient then.
No, you've seen pictures of her. She seems very spry and all that. I just think even if just one episode, the idea that
That would be very cool.
yeah,
Roll to see a photograph of her, don't you? So you can drool over her.
grannies. I just think it's
Raoul.
so yeah.
Yeah, she's quite sprightly for
Actually, we have got a
6
message.
or
We have had a
7-year-old.
message into the show you were asking earlier on, and the message was, why does Rob keep insisting on being called Raoul when he's clearly not called Raoul? So Raoul, why do you keep the pretense going? You just like it now, don't you?
Because my name's Raoul.
There we
It's
go.
not like we use your surname. It's not like we say Rob or anything, is it?
Oh, for feck's
Fuck
sake, I've got
off.
to leave that out now.
Well, just delete it out.
Yeah, but it takes me longer to do it, you asshole. Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
a lot. I'm leaving in where you live now. In fact, I might even put your phone number on at the end of the show, just to piss you off. Anyway, Carol Ann Ford, she played Susan Foreman from 1963 to 1964 in the show's first season and the first 2 stories of the second season. So a very famous and influential character. And I think in the end, the Doctor locked her out of the TARDIS and kind of forced her to go on her own way. So I like the idea of her turning up and her being this old woman who's really pissed off at her. It could be quite fun the way they handle that.
Yeah.
And they've had other actresses who've been in it previously, so I don't see any reason why not. But I love the idea that Capaldi was really keen for her to be back in it again. Right, the next thing we're going to talk about is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Originally it was going to be called Assassin's Creed Victory. There was a release, I think last week, where the chaps who make it, they did a Twitch TV kind of broadcast, and they talked about the making of it. It was Unity, which came out last year, which was set in France, kind of got slated because of the fact that there was lots of glitches with the graphics on it. People weren't happy with the fact
that... Well, they raced it, didn't they? They rushed it out.
Yes. And that was one of the worries for this game as well, that they said, you know, the fact that game was rushed out and was crap, within a year they're bringing out another game. So, no, I've said it before on the podcast, I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. I would... Yeah, sorry, Andy, what did you say?
Who was your son?
I've got something to tell you. Me and your mum have been meaning to tell you for a long time.
What?
I'm your daddy. I'm not really. She never got pregnant when I had sex with your mum. Anyway, so Assassin's Creed Syndicate is going to be set in London in 1868. Good. As I said already, I'm really biased on this. I'll go to you, Paul. What do you think? This is a franchise of games, which
don't use the F word with me.
Which has spanned massive time periods.
Yeah.
What do you have you ever played any of?
Yeah, I played Assassin's Creed before.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
I mean, the graphics look pretty good. The first thing it reminded me of was it felt very much like I was watching a video version of Peaky Blinders. I know it's set in 1868, but it had that same sort of feel.
The violence and grit.
Yeah, the violence and grit, and you know, it could be a good thing. And I thought the graphics looked okay. Having said that, I don't think the graphics look all that much different from a PS3 game.
Do you know what? Until you've played, because I got Unity and then I also got Rogue, which last year, which was on the PS3, and there's a big. When you step up, you don't notice it. But when you step back down and play a PS3 game, then it becomes very noticeable.
I guess that's the smoothest in the animation and like the actual detail in the you know, the skins and things like that.
Now they're using the same game engine that they use for Unity, which some people have been like, oh no, but think of all the glitches. But I'm pretty sure they're ironing all those glitches out.
Do you know what I mean about when I said it looks a little bit like Peaky Blinders? It has that same sort of
that kind of the Britishness, the fact it's set in London, and the high degree of violence. Raoul, what do you think? Have you ever played Assassin's Creed?
The very first one, and that was on a Xbox 360, I believe. So
no, I played it probably on PlayStation. That was on PlayStation 3, I think. I'm sure I bought a box set where you got that and the second one together at the same time, I'm pretty sure. So, it's what do you reckon? What did you see? What did you think of it when you watched the trailer?
Really got a great deal to add, and it did look like how I would imagine 1800s London to be.
I think there's going to be a real steampunk feel to it as well.
Yeah.
There's going to be some special versions where you're going to have, I think, Charles Dickens in it, possibly Charles Darwin. Some people have said, they've definitely got to have Sherlock Holmes in it, to which some people have said he's not a real character, since they said it around real world characters. But they could have, was it Dr. Bell, who was the guy who Sherlock Holmes was based on?
Yes.
Now they could easily have, I know he was up in Edinburgh or whatever, they could easily have him in it and do him helping the main protagonist.
Or they could have even Arthur Conan Doyle.
Certainly, that would be quite interesting.
Writing about, yeah. No, I thought it looked visually beautiful.
Is it too soon though, since the last game?
Well, I think they're trying to redeem themselves, aren't they?
It depends on the actual gameplay and what the game is actually like, doesn't it? I mean, if it proves to be, and it's difficult to say. I mean, on the surface it looks really good, but if the gameplay is really, really spectacular and the immersion is really, really good, then no, they've redeemed themselves, like you said, if they do a good job of it.
They'll run several projects concurrently anyway, and the amount of titles that get shelved for whatever reason, various reasons, will never see the light of day. So it wouldn't have surprised me if they were developing this while they were developing the other game, if not before. It'll be on their roadmap somewhere. So this has probably had a lot longer spent on it anyway. I mean, it's only been a year since the last game. It's probably had, as much time as the previous version and this extra year and some more spent on it.
That makes sense, yeah.
Is it a another sandbox game? Is it got a lot of freedoms to where you can go and what you
Yes,
can do? Third person.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's going to say the big changes to it are going to be the fact that they're going to have carriages in it, which actually going around the town where you can actually jump on, hide in the carriages, where they've not had that before. This idea that you can actually take them over and drive them around.
Mm.
The other thing I would say is when you think about some games like Bethesda developing Skyrim, which took something like 4 years to do.
Which one?
But Skyrim.
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 Yeah.
It's part of the,
Skrim.
Yeah.
Skrim or Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim it's called. Don't listen to Roll. Scrim. What a terrible name for a game. I'm having a quick go on a Scrim.
I just think about games like that.
Sounds like a disease in your testicles, doesn't it?
Scrim.
I've got the Skrim.
You've got the worst case of Scrim I've ever seen.
It's gone all red.
It'll have to come off. Well, that's how he lost his nut, to the Scrim. Sorry, carry on with Scrim.
Yeah, I was thinking about a game like that. It took 4 years to develop it, and you can feel that when you play a game like that. It's got such immersion, such great levels of things you can do in it, things that you can collect, ways that you can build your character up, places you can go. It's got such a depth and breadth to it. If this has been developed, I don't know how long it's taken to develop, but if it's been developed within,
it's got a massive amount. Yeah.
how long this has taken over a year to develop, has it?
Easy. I would put my money on what Raoul said. They would have been working on it longer. That fully makes sense.
So, yeah.
When you see the level of depth, I know when each street corner they have a team working on it, and the main designer guy says, or the bloke who kind of runs it all, has said to them, this was in the little Twitch TV little broadcast. Each corner needs to think of a story. The people who live there, what's going on.
Yeah.
Some of the other things that are going to be different about this one compared to the other ones is they're going to let you use things in the environment more to help you. Like you can drop things that are hanging over by cutting the rope on them. You're not going to walk around with a sword like you could in the previous ones. It's more of a concealed weapon. In fact, the main character uses a kukri, one of these kind of bladed, knives that I know the Nepalese Gurkhas use them. So he has that. There's more of the concealed weapon element to it, like knuckle dusters and stuff like that. And the idea of when you want to take it, there's a number of the 7 boroughs of London you need to try and take over. And to take them over, you need to take out the Templars, who are the baddies again. You need to basically set up a gang, and it's your gang taking on the gang who run the area. So I think there's going to be some big pitch street battles and stuff that you can be involved with.
Why are the Templars always the villains?
Well, the Templars they're not always the villains. They are the main baddies of the game. You sometimes get some characters who are Templars who aren't too bad. They do play around a little bit, but essentially they want to control.
Right.
The Templars are all for control. The Assassins are all for the idea that you should be allowed free will, whereas Templars wouldn't let you do that. That's the overarching theme to it. But it's just a good... I absolutely love the Assassin's Creed. The main characters are called Jacob and Evie Fry. For the first time, you can play as either of them and switch between them.
All right.
He's more your brawler, straightforward fighter. She's more the stealth mode to it. This is the first time on one of the big platforms like this that you can play as a female assassin, as a main character. They've had ones on some of the other smaller consoles, but it just looks like it's going to be exciting. So that's going to be released on October the 23rd, which is the day before my birthday, and then later on in 2015 on the PC. But I just think it looks really exciting. The idea that there's going to be a steampunk influence to it as well. Steam trains. I'm going to bet Isambard Kingdom Brunel's going to be in it.
It's got to be in it.
Jack the Ripper. They've got to have him in it as well.
Yeah.
The idea of the smoky, dirty streets of London that you can move around in, I just think it's exciting. The only thing that's annoyed me is that during all the press stuff for this, I've had a lot of American people saying, "Oh look, you can climb up Big Ben." It's not called Big Ben. That's the bell. It's Elizabeth's second tower now. So that's all you've heard them saying.
The thing about playing a game like that in London is not just the fact that it's London, but there's been a lot of things like a lot of stories about alternate realities, alternate places in London.
It's true. Like when you talk about when you worked there.
Yeah,
that's an alternate.
That really happened. But I'm thinking about there's been a lot of interest in books like Rivers of London, which is quite
being made into a TV show.
Is it?
Yep.
It's just it's the idea of immersion in some sort of other reality or some underworld within London, which I think is really fascinating, really interesting.
Yeah,
and there's some sort of conspiracy amongst all these famous people, maybe if they're kind of working together in some way with one another.
That's one of the best things about Assassin's Creed. In the games I've really enjoyed, you've had all these little kind of games that unlock things, and then they will use real events and kind of fake documents, and they'll tie in. Like in one of the last ones we played, Henry Ford was a big kind of Templar who was involved in that was in Assassin's Creed 3.
Mm.
Now, one of the other big changes of this is, well, it's not a big change. People are arguing about the fighting system. In Unity, the fighting system, you couldn't just run through people, hacking them down like you could in Assassin's Creed 3. You had to actually parry, defend, and fight. And some people criticise that, saying you get in a fight with about 15 other people and you get shot and killed. I like that better. I like the Unity fighting system better than the Assassin's Creed 3 one, where basically one guy could walk through killing everyone. Now, obviously, an assassin's a highly trained killing machine, a bit like Andy, when he's walking through Asda's car park and someone asks him what they're looking at.
Well, that's a long time
I forget, what did you say, Andy?
You know, I was telling you earlier on about, you said about Andy being such a placid guy, and I went, not always.
What was the story? I heard the story.
Andy, would you like to tell us the story of...
Just
Or do you want to let Steve embellish it?
No, I'm just a bit of a Charles Bronson type.
I think maybe you should use that same mentality in your current predicament.
What, vigilante?
Shall I tell the story then? We've been to the pub, me, Andy, and our mutual friend Rachel, and we were walking across to the supermarket opposite, and there's the Woodland Walk, which is a tiny little path with trees around it. As we were going through, there was...
Take a photo, send it to Mike.
And I'm in the middle of a podcast while you're letting Raoul hold my son. You didn't even drop yourself in the shit by letting her take a photo of you holding a baby and not screaming terrified. So anyway, we were walking through the Woodland Walk, and there was two dodgy-looking youths stood there. And I think I'd already said, like, they look like they were someone, let's kind of avoid them. As we walked through, one of them turned and said, "What are you looking at?" to Andy. And of course, wanting to defuse the situation and pour petrol all on the fire, he said, you I do believe.
Well, let's face it, he did start it, didn't he?
They did.
And you just wanted enough content, didn't you?
Then you started taking your jacket off when they responded to that, didn't you?
No, they started following us across the car park.
Yeah, and saying stuff, that was it.
So
What were they saying? What were they saying?
But come on in.
Come on then. So I took my jacket off and then...
You walked around and...
Then I turned around and Steve diffused it, just as I thought, I'd have to just knock them out now.
And what actually happened then, Steve? What happened next?
I said to them, look, why do you want us to beat you up?
I learned a lesson that night that you can diffuse things a lot better than shining them on. And then they went all emotional, didn't they?
I said to him, look, one of the guys, the one who was the main guy that you were going to fight, I said to him, you've clearly had a bad night, there's something bothering you, and then you're taken out, and why do you want to let that? Why are you making my son, my baby son, cry, Raoul?
He wasn't crying a moment ago.
And then he gets...
There's a help.
There you go.
He's patting him too hard. Blenny.
So anyway, I said to him, you're clearly upset about something, and why, getting us to kick the crap out of you isn't going to make it better. And then he just went, yeah, my girlfriend, she's been cheating on me. And his mate went, yeah, he's taking loads of pills. And they just started crying.
It was like, to switch on it, and they're like, oh, you're right, let's shake hands. It's like,
yeah,
a moment ago, you're following us across the car park, so you're going to smack us.
Could you have had him?
Yeah, I don't know, it was just the principle that...
He would have murdered him because Andy was a lot bigger than him, and his mate didn't want to fight, clearly.
It was just the principle that, you just want to go somewhere, and they probably said it to loads of people, and they've all, ducked away. Yeah, and I just thought, there has to be...
You've got to stand up to
tyranny. There has to be consequences to what you do in life,
That was a sudden consequence, wasn't it?
I think you feel like you've got to stand up to tyranny. We all feel like that. Yeah. We all have a little bit of falling down at this.
Can we just be clear that there's tyranny, and then there's two lads stood in a car park of an Asda's?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was but we managed to diffuse it.
I did think as soon as I said it that it's just it's probably the wrong way to go. But then at the same time, it was the principle that one of these days they will say it to someone and they're going to get their heads kicked in.
I can see why he said Charles Bronson. I mean, he did have it right. He went around trying to clean
it,
up the mean streets, didn't he? Yeah.
I think you mean Charles Bronson, the man who's the most dangerous man in Britain. Oh, so.
I like the accent.
Might make Big Al the bodybuilding nurse.
Here we go.
Love it.
If you're keeping score at home, this is friend number 5072.
The bodybuilding nurse.
Yeah,
Big Al. Big Al from
Big
Boston.
Al has got he's got a bit of a reputation.
I was going to track Big Al down.
He's got a bit of a reputation for being hard as nails, and these three lads attacked him in the street. He knocked them all out, put them in the recovery position, phoned the police and an ambulance, and waited. So,
the way you just described Big Al, the bodybuilding nurse,
yes,
sounds a bit camp actually. I wouldn't say that to his face; it was quite hard. But
he's a bodybuilding nurse.
Is he camp?
And he's a former kickboxing champion as well.
Doesn't sound very camp now.
He's not that camp. No,
he's not very tall though, is he?
He's not massively tall.
Have we met Big Al, the bodybuilding nurse?
No, but I feel like I've met him because he comes up sometimes.
Yes, he does, doesn't he?
So you really should say...
He's about 5'10", so he's not that tall.
No, that's not tall. That's a little bit shorter than me.
I thought he was short the last time you described him.
No, he's about 5'10".
Anyway,
18-inch arms though.
Is he really a friend though?
Can we bear in mind that we're doing a show at the moment?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So the next thing we'll talk about is another game, since we hardly ever talk about games, but this caught my eye, first of all because when I look for computer games, I look for games which I think Lisa, my girlfriend, will like, and she likes anything kind of horror-y. And this game is called Until Dawn, and the reason it caught my eye is because the premise of it is really interesting. The idea is a survival horror film developed by Supermassive Games and published by Sony, and it stars some quite well-known people. There's Hayden Pantier, whatever her name is. There's Rami Malek, Megan Martin, Brett Dalton, and a bunch of other people. And it's about these kids who go and spend the night in a log cabin. So it's very much kind of traditional horror film fare. Now, what makes it interesting is that you can play it multiple times, which can any game, obviously, but to fully understand the story, you would need to play through each of the main 8 characters' stories. And they're going to use this technique, which is the butterfly effect, which is every small thing you do can have different repercussions. So whether you survive or die will depend on who else survives or dies. And apparently you can complete the game and have everyone survive, or, I assume, get everyone wiped out. And I just like the idea that you are forced to play the game through the different characters' eyes to find out a little bit more of the overall story.
Yeah,
it sounds good.
They reckon there's something like 9 hours in each of the individual stories, so...
God.
So
I think as games get more and more complicated, there's a couple of things really. I like the fact that as games become more technically advanced, they're kind of more immersive, but becoming more, games are becoming more filmic, aren't they? It's almost like you're in an interactive movie.
The budgets
which is,
for them are more than most films now.
Yeah, absolutely, because of the time that it takes to get it completed. But I guess that in a way is almost like a perfect piece of artwork, because in a film, don't get me wrong, on a film, but you're going to watch the same film over and over again, and it becomes a classic and you love it, but it's never ever going to change. But with something like this, it's got the potential for it always having possible different outcomes.
You see, it's
that's highly exciting, isn't it?
An interactive art piece or performance art. Or
that's
just
that concept.
Another level of pretentiousness.
I agree though.
What, me?
I do think game design, and someone else said this the other day, game design is one of the few areas. Obviously, you have big studios with big budgets, but you have people who, with like just a guy on his own, making a game, and he can control every aspect of it. Game design is probably one of the most exciting areas at the moment.
It's really interesting because like, back in the 80s when I first started hacking on things,
during the Amiga Wars,
Yeah.
The Amiga Wars. Here we go.
Flame Wars.
Back when he was a blue.
when I was about 8 years old, hacking on stuff. I'm not going to mention which system, the greatest machine ever made. Anyway, you could.
Was this when you were getting in contact with mafia bosses that were threatening to kill you?
Can I just say, can you not say anything that's going to make Raoul insist on me editing it?
Sorry.
So you could, though, in your bedroom by yourself, you could.
What is this about now?
Have we gone off on the tangent?
Hacking away for hours.
You could build something and you could distribute it via PD libraries, what have you. And it would be, and those libraries are evolved into small game studios, which were, 5 people, 3 people, 2 people.
Well, some of the cassette things you play were made just by
by one person. And you were churning stuff out. It was a good quality. Then, of course, it kind of the world changed, and all the consoles got bigger and better and more expensive to develop for and so forth, and you had to have a big studio with loads of money to do it, and it became like this big, massive thing. And then we had the advent of all the mobile devices, all the phones, iOS phones, Android phones, whatnot. People, and it's still to some degree true, people, just one man can go back, one woman, whatever, can go back to making a game again. However, it's now got to the point now where the games on mobile become more elaborate and studios get involved and so forth. So I wonder how much longer the bedroom programmer lasts.
It's when it gets to the point where... I'm going to use a different analogy here. It's like cars. Back in the old day, my dad could completely take all the stuff out of his car. You can't do that now in modern cars on account of unless you buy all the special kit.
You see, I'm of the opinion that one thing doesn't destroy the other. It's in the same way that cinema wasn't destroyed by TV.
Didn't video kill the radio star?
I just don't think.
It's like
that's 1 point.
I don't have any lines, and that's.
You could have let him do it, Steve.
Would you like me to? Wait a minute. I'll edit it out, and you can say it. Yeah. So we'll pretend you just said what you're going to say. Andy, you've got something to say.
It's all right. I don't want a sympathy joke.
You've got to be quick. He wants to have an opportunity to show how...
Can I take it off in a slightly different... Raoul, what are you doing? Why are you tonguing one side of your...
I've got bits of cracker in my beard. And I was dislodging
You haven't really got that much of a beard at the minute.
Yeah, it's more of a neck beard.
Just get back to the very valid point I was trying to make.
Oh, sorry, I was actually going to take it somewhere else with this slightly different thing, but what would you want to finish up what you're going to say? I'm trying to keep this to around about an hour long, so bear that in mind.
Yes.
I'm allowed to finish.
I finished, and you...
What did you finish?
I was just saying, I don't think that one thing destroys the other. I mean, I think there's going to be enough for it. In the same way that you can get, was that game that people were playing not so long ago on their mobiles?
Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird. Yeah, I mean...
That guy was a tool, though, who took it down because it was making him too much money.
I'm sure he made enough before...
Well, I was trying to give you a valid example of a game that was made by a bloke who was doing stuff like that still in his bedroom somewhere. I just think there's room for everything. Because people like retro stuff,
Yeah, there is to agree. But if the cost of acquiring a user for many of these games is absolutely astronomical. A mate of mine is an independent games designer, Andy.
If you're keeping score at home, that's number 5,776.
And Rovio were interested.
They do the Birds game, don't they? Angry Birds.
Yeah. They were interested or talking with him for a while about publishing one of his games.
On Angry Birds and Flappy Bird, there's some of the nicknames that Paul's called his ex-girlfriends.
Angry Bird and Flappy Bird.
Oh, Flappy Bird.
In what context was I calling it?
She had to wear special underwear. Anyway, so... Oh my God.
But the cost. He was saying the reason why he had to seek this, was looking for a proper publisher, is because the cost of acquiring a new user is somewhere in the region of $50 per person. So the amount of advertising and other things, and of those people that you acquire as a user, this isn't like the in-app charge games type things. You can expect for every 100 million or million or whatever, some staggeringly high number of people, less than 1% of people playing that game actually spend money in the game.
Have you seen?
Right,
I don't know the figures, which is a shame, because I didn't know we were going to get onto this thing. But that is it? Game of War, the one which has got Kate Upton on.
Yeah.
Their budget for that app game is fucking huge.
It is. So they are working on the assumption that the average spend from those that will actually pay in game will be getting on for something like $50, $60 a month around there. So they basically need to build up a massive number of users, but there is a tipping point at which you start to acquire users who are just quite willing to play for free and wait for the
Yeah.
You know, wait for the apps
Yeah.
and spend. You know,
Part-time users.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So
maybe
there is a certain. The thing is, I tend not to buy any games with in-app charges because I feel a little bit fleeced by the idea of in-app. I'd rather pay. I'd rather pay outright for a game.
For a game, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Right, there's another point I wanted to get onto. I don't want to spend too long on it because I don't want the show to turn into us bitching about the games and all that. But on one previous show, early on, we started speaking about Gamergate and ended up cutting it out because it went on too long. And we got basically stuck in the idea that you've got lots of douchebags and then you've got maybe two different sides with actually relevant arguments. But because of all the douchebags, it muddies the water so much. But I was reading this week and it was about game designers talking about the fact that because there's a big, strong force of social justice warriors who are involved in games and talking about it. And there's a particular game designer was saying how there was hardly any women characters in his game. And the reason why was because they felt so scared of using female characters and then being criticised, saying that we're turning them into like kind of sex objects or whatever, that they avoided putting women into it. Is that not a terrible knock-on effect? And then another story that someone mentioned was there was a game, I can't remember the name of it now. It's kind of, I can imagine, it's not Skyrim, it's similar-ish to that, and they said
Skrim.
it's not Skrim. They basically, in a previous version of the game, you'd had these kind of anger demon type things, which were characterised as male, kind of, and then you had these lust demons, which were said to be sexless but tended to look like women. Now they've changed the game; they've removed these lust demon things from it because they said it's sexist the way it's showing them. And this was a woman making the argument. She said, "Why did they need to do that? The idea of this kind of the idea that certain gender roles are kind of stereotypes of having particular ways of behaving, like anger and violence for men, and then maybe lust and love for women. That's not a bad thing. That doesn't, as long as that's not the only female representation you've got.
I mean, I guess you've got to look at a lot of these things. You could say that they're reinforcing stereotypes, but at the same time, you could say that they're sort of allowing people to live out their fantasies, and they are just that.
But why
fantasies.
do we have stereotypes? Like back when I was making TV commercials, you had 30 seconds to get your point across.
Yeah.
So you're going to lean on a stereotype because you haven't got a great deal of time. Now, whether that stereotype is necessarily good or bad, you can discuss the qualities of that stereotype. But if you're trying to get something across in a short period of time, you have a stereotype. Everybody recognises stereotype. Yeah. Because people identify with stereotype. There's a stereotypical vicar, a stereotypical teacher, a stereotypical police officer. You know, that's completely gender, nothing to do with gender, but that's just a stereotype based on those jobs, for example.
It's a shorthand way of quickly giving someone a bunch of information about something without having to talk about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with, and admittedly, you're a massive racist, but there's nothing wrong with. I'm going to say he's not a racist, ladies and gents. He's a liberal, which is even worse. So that was Until Dawn. They can go and look on YouTube for the trailers. I just love the idea of this fact that the story's going to be different each time, and that you're going to find out little bits of story. That's what always wins me over with a game. The fact that you find the fact that the story, layers of the story revealed to you, and that supposedly some of the issues you face will be ethical and moral decisions you need to make, whether to save someone over someone else, which could be quite interesting. Well, the next one I'll talk about is Netflix has announced they're picking up a show which will be out this Christmas called A Very Murray Christmas.
This is going to be ace.
And there's a trailer for it, and basically it's written by Sofia Coppola. It's going to star Bill Murray, and it's going to be a host of celebrities, and it pays homage to the old American kind of Christmas specials where you get Bing Crosby at home. Oh, who's that at the door? And he'd go to the door, and it'd be Frank Sinatra would walk in and break his knees or something like that, and they'd have sing songs and all that. It's going to be one of these kind of cheesy old Christmas shows, but obviously filmed by Sofia Coppola, a great female director, and Bill Murray's going to be in it with a host of friends. Now apparently the plot line is it's Christmas, he's doing this show, but because of terrible snow in New York, he doesn't think anyone will turn up at the hotel where he's doing the show, and then as the story goes on, he gets visited by people like George Clooney, Chris Rock, Miley Cyrus. I'd have locked the frigging door, wouldn't you, to be honest?
Throwing away the key.
So
Anyway.
we saw the trailer for it.
Yeah.
What did you think to it? We'll start off with you, Jamesy.
I love anything with Bill Murray in there. He's one of my favourite actors.
That's
so.
why I've got this on this show. Although, you know, a Christmas show with Bill Murray in. It's not
When's it coming out?
Christmas. It's going to be good because it's going to have his old sort of sardonic look on his face, and it's going to be fun. I imagine they're going to do some very, very humorous bits in it, and any sort of looks that Bill Murray gives to the camera has got my votes.
Has Bill Murray ever done anything that's shit? Like really
I
shit?
can't think of a single movie that he's done that hasn't been good. And I'm going all the way back to Caddyshack, which was an amazing movie in itself.
I can't think of anything that he's been in that's been.
Oh, hang on a minute. He was in The Monument Man, which was a poor movie, to be frank.
Yeah.
But
He was in that.
But was he shit in it?
Well, he just played himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
Given those looks.
He was amazing in Zombieland, wasn't he?
I thought that
Where he actually played himself in that. That's such a good film.
When he got shot as well, that was just...
They're making a TV show, or they were making a TV show, Zombieland. I don't know if they'll go along with it. But yeah, so a very Murray Christmas. We give it a thumbs up on that one.
Yeah.
It's just going to be awesome. But something that's so cheesy could be done in such a kind of fun way. Right, the next thing I want to talk about is we spoke a few weeks ago about the new TV show that Fox are making called Lucifer, based on Neil Gaiman's character, which first appeared in The Sandman and then got his own comic book, Lucifer. There's been a big appeal in America by a group called 1 Million Mums who want this banned. Basically, they set up a website, and if you want to go and look at it, it's called 1millionmoms, it's American.com, and basically they have said that this show mischaracterises Satan, mocks the Bible, and they basically want it stopped. Now, if you go on their website, you can see them celebrating over other shows that they've had stopped.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds like the evangelistic church is getting behind, pumping money into.
What they're saying by it mischaracterises Satan in what way? I mean, what do they believe Satan to be? And I haven't obviously seen it yet, but
they don't like the idea that he's going to be like this kind of funny kind of guy who kids might like.
Well, that's
Satan's
the point.
ace.
I mean, the devil's not going to show up. The devil is not going to be like the nasty bastard that's making your life hell. The devil's going to be the person with the candy. Why do you think pedos in playgrounds give out sweets? So they want to be liked.
Because
Because of Satan. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying they could not characterise. An evil, nasty character, a real monster, is never going to be. This nasty, horrible person outwardly. They're going to come across as charismatic and friendly and nice, because otherwise, why would you
liberal?
Want to get involved with him?
They'll hide their true intentions, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and in any case, it's whether there are lots of interpretations of the devil, and like we said in the previous
show. Yeah, you made a very good point actually about that. Then.
In the previous show, I mean, there's nothing to say that he isn't. This character with a job who isn't necessarily evil with a capital E or anything like that.
It's just the jailer. He's the guy. He's the governor of the prison.
Do the 1 Million Mums group? Do they belong to one of these large super churches? And are they a conservative group of Christian mothers?
They're clearly a conservative group. They have ties in.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a particular church they belong to. I think they are just a body of do-gooding bitches.
The thing is, it's how it's characterised. I mean, there's been plenty of stories about the devil, the medieval cautionary tales and all sorts of things.
Yeah, but this is America, isn't it?
From what were they called? Not the Canterbury Tales. I've forgotten.
Tales of the Unexpected.
No, they used to have like the pop-up medieval sort of.
Mama's Plays.
Sorry.
Mama's Plays.
Yeah, that kind of.
Oh, do you mean the plays that they do about? Oh,
they used to put one around Lent.
Yeah. Oh, am I thinking the wrong ones? The ones basically they are, something plays to do with Jesus in it.
The Passion Plays.
Passion Plays.
Not quite those, although in the Passion Plays, I believe the
Is it
devil
true you
shows
got
up.
banned from a Passion Play because you'd only ever heard the name Passion Play and you turned up with a box of kind of hand cream and clean its tissues.
So I would say that have these mothers watched it yet?
Of course they haven't watched it.
Rob, you know, it's interesting.
Oh,
Gaiman's response.
Just in case you won't realise this, and I'll get back to the point. Rob, who is terrified of the idea, Raoul, that his girlfriend will make him have children and get married or commit to anything.
It's a nice photo.
Has just had his photo taken by my girlfriend holding my baby son, and it's been put on Facebook now for his girlfriend to see. Tag his girlfriend in it, Lee.
She has.
Oh, you have already? Oh, yeah.
You know,
Sorry, back to you,
I was
Paul.
going to say, it's interesting what Gaiman's response is when he was talking about, you know, that it seems like it was only yesterday that Sandman, in 1991, that Sandman was being boycotted by Woman in Mothers Against, what were they called? So Mothers of America, because it had, lesbian, gay, bi, transsexual characters in there.
Yeah, this was his comment about it. So
yeah, it just seems to me that, you know, that's probably quite an interesting comment, that anything that does challenge the conservative rights, American sections of society, does seem to have, you know, outrage from these groups of people that are trying to put it down, because they don't really want to understand it. It goes completely against their strict principles on things. They don't want to understand it. They don't want to accept it. And they always tend to get these extreme reactions from these type of groups, particularly when it comes from, groups of well-paid, sort of Christian-backed organisations.
Mystery plays.
What's that? Mystery plays. That's the one. Yeah, that's what. What's that? That's something Baptist church where they boycott funerals.
Westboro Baptist.
Yeah, they're just weirdos.
You've got to remember about America. One thing that really I found quite shocking when I went to the States. I always remember I was in a hotel room. This is not London now. This is the States. I was in Phoenix, Arizona one morning.
Is it when you wanted some mayo?
That's another story, but I'll tell you that one if you want. I was in a hotel room, right, and I was watching a Sunday morning TV program with this preacher. It was one of these huge super churches. And this guy was on the stage, and he was healing this woman who'd come on the stage and who couldn't walk very well, and he was putting his hand and preaching over the top of trying to cure her from her ailment. Cut to him standing with a book saying, "You got to buy my book. Book tells you how to get rich. Pick up the phone and ring right now." You know, and I thought, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Right,
yeah.
Pan back, the camera then panned back, went back to this guy on the stage, and as they panned back, there were these huge adverts for Coors beer and Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and all these adverts around the auditorium in this bloody church.
It's a big money-making scam,
and I couldn't believe what I was saying. I'm not adverse to religion in any sense of the word, but it just seems to me that the States seem to think that church and capitalism and consumerism, they all seem to be,
you can get away with all sorts in America. You can get away with the biggest.
Well, the thing is that
it's a strange.
I'm pretty sure Jesus had a strong view on people selling stuff within the synagogue.
So long as you've got the name
reference. It's so overt and so extreme, and that's the thing I was going to say about the States. I love the States, but I just find in every sense of the word that it's such a vast country, but there is such extremities in every sense of the word, in the way that people eat, in the way that they go to church.
We've just lost our American audience.
I just think it was. I mean, no, because you talk to Americans, they say the same thing.
I just think you can get away with the biggest, crimes to truth and morality if you just call yourself reverend. What's the qualification for it? As long as you've got reverend.
I'm not sure there is one.
But I also think as well, over here we have officially no separation from church and state. But as a result of that, our church gets, or our established church, if anything, gets more criticism and eyes on it, and it's kind of held more into, perversely, because I don't necessarily believe in the idea of an established church or anything like that, but the idea that, in a way, because it is there, it has more eyes on it, and therefore it will speak up in the sense that, in the way that you would probably more likely want it to. You'd want it to stick up for poor people than.
Well, I would say, yeah.
Whereas in America, so you don't get quite the same. Like there was this guy back home who had one of these evangelical kind of American style TV
Empire
churches.
of God, changing the name for the show.
Yeah, well, he left his wife because God told him and shacked up with 2 prostitutes because God told him apparently. It's like little things like that, and
Which I wouldn't say. I'm not sitting here saying that everything in America is extreme. I think that you get extreme aspects in the States as you would, extreme things in the States as you would do, quite normal everyday type of attitudes towards God or anything else like that. I'd say this, the C of E, in the way that I actually think it's more open and more liberal and accepts a broad range of different people. I would say the churches in America who also do the same sort of thing. So I'm not sitting here saying America's extreme, full stop.
Shall I just summarise it up so we move on to the next one?
But I do think that
I'm going to summarise it now.
Go on then.
America has all the best stuff, but also has a lot of the shittest stuff. And all the different shades of shit in between, which is fair, isn't it? There are some parts of America which are absolute poverty.
Vegas.
But then some parts of America are fucking amazing, aren't they?
Vegas.
Yeah.
It's like Vegas and Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas
contradiction.
is
It's the
amazing
worst
stuff.
place and the best place at the same time.
There's a contradiction in terms, but I mean, I guess. That's
So I've summed that up.
paradox.
So that was summed. Now we're moving on to the next thing.
Did go off on a bender a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't know what you got up to at the weekend. So anyway, so the next thing, so that was 1 million moms. If you want to look at their website and join in trying to shut down people having fun, then feel free and do that. The next thing we looked at was Ash vs Evil Dead spoilers. Now we mentioned before that we're big fans of the Evil Dead, and this was a very quick trailer, you can see it on YouTube, of Ash starting up his chainsaw and saying something along the lines of "Ash is back." Did that wet your whistle?
I felt like there should be like a bit of AC/DC in the background, Thunderstruck or something. Like when he was.
It's cool, isn't it? I
It's,
fucking love.
yeah, I can't wait.
This show's gonna be good. Paul.
Yeah, it's all right. I wouldn't say
What?
I'm a whistle.
Oh, just for a minute. I thought he's gonna
franchise.
leave it like that. Andy, you didn't see it, did you? Because you weren't here, were you?
Unfortunately, I missed that.
You asshole. Right, now the next one we'll talk about is ShitCon. Now this has been in the news. It wasn't actually called ShitCon. I added that name in myself.
Love it.
It's not a big convention, although...
Didn't we talk about this? Like, mention it on the podcast as something to go to?
No, thank Christ.
Ooh.
Someone said to me, they went, "Did you promote this thing in Wales?" And I was talking about, there is something where it's like a street carnival comic thing that is not this. The thing I was on about hasn't happened yet and looks amazing. Basically, this was at Margam Country Park, which is in Wales, and they offered this day, which was called this kind of superhero day. It was on a bank holiday, and they put up posters promising that for the small price of £19, that you could go in and you could meet Spider-Man, Mutant Ninja Turtles, Incredible Hulk, and lots of other heroes. So obviously lots of kids wanted to go to this. However, it was massively over, so too many people went to it. The queues, I think they had like one toilet for thousands of people.
Complete chaos.
They said that there was no heroes hardly walking around. There was some chubby bird dressed up as Ilsa from the what's it called, the recent Disney film, Frozen. And you also had some bloke, and I've seen a picture of him in a really shit Olaf the snowman costume. First of all, Olaf and Ilsa are not superheroes or heroines. One visitor, this Katie O'Donoghue, she said, honestly, if you were going, she put this on Facebook at the time, if you were thinking of going, don't bother. There's not enough food and drink stands, not enough toilets, queues everywhere, a mile long. Basically went there and paid 19 quid to glimpse a shoddy Olaf walking around, really badly organised and a total waste of our bank holiday and money. Now the organisers of this said, look, if you write us a letter within a week and you give us a good reason why you should have your money back, we will give you your money back.
I'm sure they would.
I bet when they finished counting all their money. So this was a Welsh country park. Raoul, defend yourself.
Your homeland.
Why me?
You are a taff, so
You're a representative.
Margam, is that North or South Wales?
doesn't matter. We're counting all as one.
It does, because
You're
if
from
you're
the Principality.
a taff, you're from the south. If
You're a
you're
Gog.
a Gog, you're from the north. So
what? You're a taff.
well, technically, yeah.
So you taffy bastard, £19. Why? Welshmen are famous for being tight, aren't they?
No, it's the Scots that are tight. The Welsh are generous.
No, do you know what?
Honest
Honestly,
Yorkshireman.
every Scotsman
Yorkshire,
I've ever met,
basically, the further north you go, the more tight you become.
I've met some mean Welshmen. Not as mean as Andy, obviously.
Yeah, but that was when you were in North Wales. Ergo, my point still stands.
No, but a lot of
Selfish,
South
selfish,
Wales, aren't you?
actually.
Sorry?
You are well known for being tight-fisted.
Tight? I was never tight.
That's a lie, actually. Raoul is one of the most generous men you can ever find. Honestly.
I was near Port Talbot. Wow. Okay,
right.
so So yeah, it is.
Yeah, defend that one then.
Wales.
Stick that in your Welsh
Well, that part of it's
Stick
near,
that in
it's
your
near
Abigail
Port
Valley.
Talbot and Swansea, Bridgend and Neath. You know,
Yeah,
Porthcawl, that
we all
kind of
know
end of town. We know
Neath is a bit of a shit.
it is a shithole. So
Quite
you know,
a
what do
decent
you
rugby
expect?
team though, doesn't it, Neath?
Yeah, Neath.
You speak Welsh, Rob?
No,
You come from the
Can you
south.
not say any
I
words?
know a
well spoken.
few words, but that's it. There's, you know,
Just the
Connecticut's
stuff they
got a
used to
good
shout at him.
Sorry,
Just the stuff they used to shout at you.
just stuff people used to shout at me. That's it.
Welsh nationalists.
Cottage burning, English hating bastards. Yeah,
I was going to say, because you don't actually have much of a Welsh accent.
they got beaten out of me
Yeah.
by the English.
The only
was he
Welsh
really
words
Welsh
I know are. Do you know that Santa Claus is Sean Connery in Welsh? It's not really, it's Sean Connery, I think that's how they pronounce it.
Did Rob have a real
Telephone is telephone.
Yeah, telephone.
Did you have a
Michael-
really thick Welsh accent?
Briefly, yeah. Microwaves popped a ping. I had one until I was about 5, and then what happened? My parents moved to just outside Monmouth. So
So that was shit con
border.
as I've named it. But one of the acts that did save it when they saw her was this woman. Her name's Miss Merlin. You can go to her website, missmerlin.com /wonder-woman, and she does a Wonder Woman hula hoop show. Paul, you've seen it. What did you think of it?
That woman can hula. Yeah, I mean, she sort of, it reminded me of the sort of thing you would see in between Paul Daniels doing his magic tricks on the Paul Daniels Magic Show in 1981 or 1982. There would always be, you know, a clever person that would go on there and they do spinning of plates or some other kind of, you know, technical.
it
shit
reminded
like that.
me of
She would have
Eurotrash.
been out of Eurotrash. She would have been out of.
But she was fully clothed.
She starts her act off dressed in like a suit, and then she, as the music begins to play, the Wonder Woman music, she strips off a suit. She's got a Wonder Woman outfit on, and I must admit, she is bloody good with a hula hoop.
Incredible.
Now,
hula hoop.
when you were a kid and you used to hula hoop, it seemed quite easy,
I
didn't it?
couldn't get it up.
But what about the hula hoop? Thank you very much, everybody. It's bloody hard hula hooping. And there's some pictures. If you look up this missmerlin.com on her website, she can hula a hell of a lot of hoop.
Yeah.
She's a horsome hula.
She's horsome.
Awesome.
That's not
hula.
that sounds terrible. She's horsome. So check that out. Anyway, that's the end of this first show this week. So we're going to leave it there. Can we all say goodbye? Jamesy,
Bye bye.
Bye.
Andy, goodbye. Raoul.
Bye.
Right, catch us in the next show we'll have a little bit of Ultimo Geek, and we'll also have Comic of the Week and Geek Music Face Off. So we'll see you soon, listeners. Goodbye.
Bye.
That was ghastly.